Peace, love and mung beans to all that have about to jump on, should I say. And
oh, we've just been given the call from that we're all live.
I must have tagged you in there.
You did.
So I've just tagged my beloved, and I've tagged some of you guys in there. That's because I think you're super intelligent, super amazing, and have something to share.
Introduce yourself.
I am Siddhantarananda. I am a mystic. I am a light or energy healer, and I'm also a life coach. And my beloved here, Devyananda.
Yes, we have a wonderful business called Living Essence New Zealand, and I'm a Bowen therapist, and we're both in the healing arts and energy healing, and I work with placentas, turn placentas into medicine for mums, and I'm a yoga teacher, and we work with the whole person. So we're very passionate about people finding their joy in life or their spark, and helping them through their times of troubles, and bringing back the light in their life and bringing their essence back to themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We love doing that. We love working with people using energy. And energy is abundant in the universe. The energy is made. The universe is made of energy. Who was the scientist? What's his name? Albert Einstein. You know, he talked about energy being mass is simply energy, and energy is mass. It's just converted in different ways. But then this is going to get on to our topic. There's many people that have refuted his theory. And so, you know, we could say, well, was Einstein right? Probably on many levels. Was he also wrong? Quite likely. Quite likely.
So what is our topic tonight?
Our topic tonight on what does it mean to be right? And I realised today just how much of a big topic that is. And actually, in the world we're living in now, I don't think I've ever seen in the last year, in the last 12 months, I don't believe I've ever seen such a scramble for people to be right.
Such a
I
polarity.
am not joking. This last 12 months, probably longer, but at least this last 12 months, especially since COVID, all I've seen is people be
I've always
polarised.
wanted to be right. No, I'm kidding.
And she is. Trust me, she's right. And I've also had that as well. And we need to ask that question, what does it mean to be right? And is it important? Is it important? That's what I was thinking today. I thought maybe I was asking the wrong question, but we can answer and ask many questions. Yeah, it means to feed your ego. I mean,
100%.
Melissa, welcome and thank you for sharing. I so agree. That was what I arrived at in the shower today.
Melissa. Yeah, it's to serve the ego, and you know, there's a part of us, all of us, that love to serve our ego if we're in conversation with friends, or
Yes.
you know, my background growing up was professional sport, and so part of what I did was really trying to push myself to win and push myself to be right, I would probably put it, you know, and win things that made me feel good and made me feel right about what I was doing. So I was always kind of charged up in that area, you know, growing up, or I would always cheat on games, you know, like games at home. You know, everyone said never, you know, don't play with me, because I would always cheat because I wanted to be right, but I wasn't right. I was wrong. So what is right? But
it appeared that you were right at the time, didn't it?
Yeah.
See, being right can be a great magic trick. You know, getting people... Now, I'm going to share a story today. My wonderful friend, Philip Smith, came on and brought some points up on a meme that I shared that talked about H3O2. And I knew that this had been refuted before. There's no such molecule structure as H3O2. But then what I'd read is that there were many that said, no, it's a thing. It's like a gel-like structure of water. It's like a fourth structure of water. And there's some that say this is true and others that say it's not. And he came in and said, oh, I think you'll find, because what it was about was, I shared it because it was about fruit. It was like, in fruit, did you know in fruit that the water in there is a different structure? And it's really good for you. And I thought, this is great. I love this. This feels good to me because... I like to encourage health and well-being. And I thought, if this gets more people eating fruit, this is a good thing. I put it out, and my very good friend who I love dearly, and another lady came in and wanted to refute that, and they said, this is what one woman said, this is bullshit. You know, you should do your fact checking first. Well, I thought I didn't need to worry about that. I thought Facebook was doing all the fact checking these days and just shutting stuff down, but obviously not. And what it became about, I had posted something that wasn't, in their eyes, factually true. And I wasn't worried about the facts. And I did say, you know, these couple of people said, you should probably make sure that what you're sharing is correct first before you post anything. Well, in my life, I held myself back from doing so many things because I was worried about getting it right first. I was worried about whether I would be wrong. You see, I've entered into the healing arts. I'm very good at it. I work with many clients who've had people who've got cancer and all sorts of ailments going on in their life, that I'm giving them beneficial help. And I wouldn't have moved into that if I was worried about being right and getting it right. But because I was willing to get it wrong, and even in doing this, I'm willing to get this wrong. I'm not coming on here to be right. Don't listen to me, listen to you. And this is the whole point of what does it mean, this whole thing that I'm doing, is I want to return you to yourself. I want to show that your sovereignty and your ideas and your voice is valuable to me, and should be, well, not should be, but I believe it's valuable to the world. I can't say shoulds, because that's again a connotation of being right. But what was really funny, and I pulled myself up in the car on the way over here, when I said to my friend, I'm actually not concerned about whether it's correct or not, or whether I'm right. And he was like, you know, you kind of should be, you know, because you might get it wrong one day and it might hurt someone, and then you'll wish that you had been correct and that you were right. Or you check the facts first. And I was like, no, I'm you know, really, I pass things through my consciousness and my intuition. Does this feel good? Is it good for others? But then I realized that in my arguing back to him in the car, by me saying I don't mind being wrong, I was trying to be right. It's true. So no matter what, the ego comes through the back door. I was still trying to kind of prove that what I'd done, I felt was right. So I think what I feel with, you know, what does it mean to be right? No matter what, you're kind of going to be wrong anyway. If you get it right, it could be wrong for someone else. And
like Melissa said, it's just, you know, it's serving your ego, and there's nothing wrong with an ego. We all have egos.
Absolutely.
That's part of us being human, is just how we go about using our ego, and yeah, that's who we are. That's part of it. AJ goes back to the other day when we talked about blame. Yeah, totally.
That's right.
Yeah. And so the other day we talked about blame and.
What does it mean to blame? And it's passing it on to other people. And I thought about that too. You know, to be right means to be responsible, actually, because if you're like, well, I'm right on this matter, then you're putting all the responsibility on yourself. So you better, you're just setting a high benchmark for yourself. Now you better be right all the time. Now, if you're not afraid to get things wrong, then it kind of does lower the benchmark. Now, that can be a good or a bad thing. I don't know. You know, it can take the pressure off, and you could have a little less stress, or it could lower your expectations. It creates a
wonderful conversation when you can both be able to not choose to be right, but really listen to others' opinions, you know, because when someone's trying to prove themselves all the time, it's very hard to be open to what is. And when you do find someone that you can really share and open the conversation out with, and finish with a calm answer or space or relationship with that person, I think you've kind of nailed it on the head. You know, if once someone's leaving the conversation not feeling like they were right, or they're angry that they thought you were right, how is that being conscious and being aware of either person? Because, you know, no matter what, every individual on this earth is going to feel different no matter what. So we really have to be open to listen, to share, to be vulnerable, to get it wrong, to talk about things, to just, or just at the end of the day, let it go.
Well, that's the thing. I think vulnerability, that's come up. So many authors have spoken about the power of vulnerability. And if you're concerned about being right, you won't be vulnerable. You won't. You won't be vulnerable. And it is, to be vulnerable means to open up. Surely in our own eyes, we all like to be right, but humble ourselves. To be okay with not having to be right is something, check this, is something we all have to train ourselves, as it is not always natural. Yeah, well, that's so true, AJ. I was going to do a course called How to Train Your Ego, because it's very much like a dragon. Do you know? Hey, and give me a like or some sort of reaction there if you think I should do a course or get together a workshop on how to train your ego. I've been fascinated by the ego because, and I've always
I've never learnt so much about the ego until I met Siddhanta. I'd really never sat with it for a long time and understood it until Siddhanta shared so much about it and how it became a real an awakening for me as such, learning about the ego. Yeah,
I was fascinated by the ego. People like Jordan B. Peterson, and it was cool. AJ sent me some cool stuff yesterday that was referring to some of C.G. Jung's work. There's some wonderful, and I think that the id or the ego was coined first by Freud. And, psychologists got right into understanding the ego. And the ego is the construct of who we think we are. It's our thought. It's who we are condensed. It's all our thoughts condensed into this package. And we say, well, that's me. All my thoughts and my experiences and education, everything. And that's who I am. And when you look at it, if you try to find the ego, it's made of this imaginary stuff. It's not there. The ego is fascinating, and I've always said the only thing the ego ever wants is to be right. It doesn't care about anything else. But seriously, what else does the ego want but to be right? Because you even think about when the ego, you get that self-talk, when people are going through a really hard time and they talk down on themselves, and we're like, oh, you're just an idiot, no one cares about you, and those moments when the ego comes in and it's like, see, I told you
Canada.
No one cares.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
Kia ora. From
Kia ora.
New Zealand.
Yes, sending much love to you. The subject tonight is, what does it mean to be right?
I think we've kind of nailed it on the head, really.
We have.
Today.
It's been really interesting going into and looking at. I couldn't help but find I was just being faced with the ego every time. What does it mean to be right? It's this ego trip. Being right is an ego trip, and it goes along with that saying of, it's better to be right. It's better to be kind than it is to be right. And I feel that's kind of true, because no matter what, you're going to get some of this wrong. No matter what, you're going to be right on some respect. There's that very old philosophical saying that says you can't step into the same river twice. Well, that's kind of not true, but it's also true. Do you know what I mean? There's right and wrong both in that. This is the same river. I'm stepping into it. This is the same river. Yes, but the structure of this river is not the same as it was before. So no matter what you say, you can always find some wrong in your right, and you can always find some right in your wrong. It goes back to yin and yang. Yeah. There's just no getting away from it. You can't have up without down. You can't have in without out. Scott Woodhouse, my goodness. How's it going, my friend? Peace and love to you. So, the good friend of mine said to me, you've got to be careful with what you post and what you put out there. Look, seriously, I wouldn't put anything out there. If I'd fact check everything, nothing would get put out, because you can find arguments for both sides. But he said, you put your hand in the fire, you get burnt. Then you teach your children and you tell your children, don't put your hand in the fire, you'll get burnt. And I thought, yeah, that's true. You kind of, that's the right thing to do, to tell your children. But guess what? What's the children going to do?
Exactly.
They're going to go stick their hand in the fire. Why? And this is what the conclusion I came to.
That generally happens every day for me, that conversation.
Yes, with children.
But what are you doing? No.
It literally is, we have to find out for ourselves. And so what does it mean to be right? I think, to right in the good sense, and right in for you and for me and for each individual. What does it mean to be right as an individual? Is for you to experience. You have to find out for yourself. Look, there's so much, we're so drenched in information now that there is no right anymore.
Yeah.
There is no right anymore. That's why I don't even... Look, I got all tied up. I poked my head up for a little bit there, and people were complaining about Trump. And I just wanted to keep some... I actually wanted to see less criticism going on and a little bit more, let's just kind of be nice here.
Absolutely. Sometimes we're just what we need to be, and that's all we need to be is us. And when we're comfortable with that, we really don't have anything to prove, and we don't really have any need to be right, or wrong, because we're comfortable in our own boots, 100%.
Absolutely. Yep. And like I said, that the child is always, no matter what, they're going to stick their hand in the fire. It goes back to people, and it doesn't matter if this is true or not. I'm not saying it is true or right, but the story in the Bible of Adam and Eve, people say, why did God put the tree of the knowledge of good and evil in there if he didn't want them to eat it? Well, that's kind of like, why did you cook dinner when you didn't want your child to burn their hand after you told them not to touch it? It's just, it's there. You say, don't touch it. They're going to do it. In a way, we know, a good parent knows, I can tell you a million times, but until you experience burn for yourself, you're not going to know what burn is.
Yeah.
It's like, don't do that. You're going to hurt yourself. They may not know what that means in that context until they experience it. So I feel that being right for you is your experience. And if we can honour each other's experience, I think is the most important thing. I honour Devi's experience. I listen to her stories and her adventures in life. And we both agree as well. When we look at the relationships we were in, we came to the point where it was like, it was just a wrong relationship. And then we recant and we go back and go, no, it had to happen for us to be where we are now.
Yeah.
Each relationship we were in needed to happen. So were those relationships right? In the context of our relationship, they were. Because we wouldn't be where we are now as it is now. And we wouldn't be able to appreciate who we are now if it wasn't for every moment that happened in our life. And so I believe that life is right. What does it mean to be right? It just means to be you. That's it. You don't have to prove yourself. I put up the other day a meme, and I'll share it at the bottom of this replay. And it was, I may not agree with what you say, but I agree with you. I love hearing you both speak. Both bring so much passion and wisdom. Eventually the helper will need help.
Encourage will need uplifting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we have this beautiful relationship, what we are doing and why we're putting ourselves out there is we want to be courageous in offering what we feel is right, is good for people. Yeah,
we're just holding space and being able to hold space for people and care for humans, which we do. That's our job, and to share our wisdom that we have guidance from, and
we don't claim to be right, but we do claim to be passionate and how do I pronounce that name? Prairie. I love that. It's beautiful. Yes, we are passionate, and that's all we can offer is our passion, and it is our passion for others that probably helps us to be successful healers as well. And what I mean by successful, well, there we go. What do we mean? That's probably going to be tomorrow's talk. What does it mean to be successful? But we're seeing results happen in people's lives, beautiful results.
Yeah.
Now, so many people could come to us and say, "Oh, mate, that is just a load of rubbish. You guys, this energy healing. What do you mean? Someone's at home and you're at your home and you're healing them from distance." Straight away, because of their upbringing and their thinking, they could think, "That's just rubbish. That's not right."
But when they're getting to the point of chronic pain and suffering and they will try anything, they end up giving this a go, and they wish that they had done it a long time before that. So that's the kind of beauty that we're seeing now, as people are becoming more open to the science of energy and energy healing, and being open to feel better. How do you want to feel in life? I want to feel joyful. I want to feel love. I want to feel a community. I want to feel...
And when do we want to feel it?
Now.
Now. We want to feel it now.
No, look, and it can happen. And, we want to be able to share that with you, because I know we're getting in touch with that beautifully, and we're offering that to others as well.
Yeah, do contact us if you'd love to experience energy healing. It's a beautiful thing. I was working with a lady today, and she's amazing, phenomenal, and really facing some heavy stuff. And what I've learned is not to worry about whether I'm going to get this right or not. You know, I said to her before she left, she was in a very calm space, and I said, the guide's going to come and speak to you. Just lie there and just receive. Enjoy your rest. And I left. Now, could I know that was going to be right? How can I know that's going to be the right thing to say? I had an impression. It's only an impression. And of course, I got a beautiful message from her on the way home that said that they told me not to fear and to let go again. And then my grandfather came in, and he said to me, "I'm always with you." Now she's facing, it's terminal for her. Not that that's the prognosis she's been given. Not that we look at that. But she, I went out on a limb. I had an impression you're going to get you're going to be spoken to by the guides. And so my stepping out, does that kind of create that? Does that bring that through? Do you know what I mean? It's like, how can I be sure? There's no, I just can't be right. I can't be sure.
Well, you're in the moment and you're in an experience, and that's all you can go with. So it's not choosing in that moment to be anywhere else but present. And
right is a judgment. That's
right.
Yeah,
Danica. Yeah, right is a judgment. If your moral compass allows you to lay straight in bed at night, then you are right within yourself, and that's all that matters. Just what I said.
Yeah.
In the moment,
Thank you,
you go, yep. Need to go to bed, is that right? It is, because that's your moral judgment, and that's all this is your own moral judgment.
It's bringing it back to you. And the reason I found this is such an important conversation for us to have is I believe in the power of one. I believe in the power of the individual, because individually we must... There's no point in being told for us to be told what to do, because that's conformity. And conformity is, and you'll be right if you conform. If you conform to the rules, you'll be right in regards to the rules. You'll be right.
And if you're right for you, then
you might end up breaking a few rules. Okay? Because what's right for you, you'll be doing the soul searching. You'll be doing the necessary work within. And when you look at what the Buddha said, he said, you've got to go within. When Jesus turned up, he said, you must look at the guys, you're looking at the kingdom out here. It's not out here. It's inside you. It doesn't come by observation.
Good night, AJ. Yeah.
Good night, AJ.
It's our bedtime too.
It is. So thank you very much to everyone that's joined us. Rob, you always just seem to just sneak in at the end there, mate. I love that. So namaste to you as well, my friend. And I've had wonderful conversations with Rob as well. And, speaking your truth, keep it up, brother. I mean, if it's true for you, you're doing the right thing in your soul. If what you're doing feels right for you, I encourage you, do it. You're an individual. You must hold on to your sovereignty, your words, and and your truth,
your wisdom,
is as important as anyone else's, whether they be a king or a president compared to you. It doesn't matter. What is right for you is the right thing, and I believe that's what it means to be right, is to be yourself. 100%.
100%.
100%. So we're going to leave it at that, beautiful people.
Have a wonderful evening.
Namaste.
Lots of love. Namaste.